Hello, Crit. Oh, rocket guitar. And welcome, everybody. Thanks for joining me on a Wednesday. What else are you going to do, right? So tonight, I thought we'd look at a song that actually originally is, it's originally a piano song, but it transposed really well to guitar. I went through through this kick. Hello, Paul. Welcome. I went through this kick quite a few years ago where I was really into trying to transpose piano, like piano pop songs over to guitar. So this is one of the ones I did, and so if you couldn't tell by that awesome thumbnail that I made, that it's Christina Aguilera. So this is a song called "Hurt" that came out, I don't know, 10 or 15 years ago or something. But anyway, it's a really cool, like I said, it's a piano song, but it really transposed over really well to guitar, and it sounds really good, and it sounds like there's more going on than there really is. It's actually pretty simple. So even if you have never, done finger picking before, you can actually still play this just with a pick. It's just a lot easier to play with your fingers as far as I'm concerned. Anyway, the picking pattern on it is the same throughout the whole song. The only thing that changes is we go from primarily playing on E, B, G, and D, and then sometimes it'll move down where we're playing on B, G, D, B, and A. So that's the main difference. But as far as the sequence and everything, it's exactly the same thing. Hello, Rick. Welcome. Yeah. So as usual, there's a link in the description where you can download the tabs for this. So download the tabs and we can get started with it. Got anybody here new tonight? The rocket guitar, if you're still out there, I believe you're new. I don't recall seeing you before, but you could have been here. My memory sucks. So. All right. Well, you're getting the tabs for that. We can just kind of go over the finger picking pattern. So for the first part of it, we're just going to be playing on the first 4 strings. So what you want to do is you're going to want to take your thumb and you're going to be playing the D string with your thumb, and then you're going to be playing the G string with your first finger, the B string with your second finger, and the high E string with your third finger. So that's where we're going to be on this first part. So for those of you who have done finger picking before and PIMA, the picking pattern for this is P-I-M-I-A-I-M-I. In fact, I'm going to look really quick and just double check to make sure that I'm not saying that wrong. P-I-M-I-A-I-M-I. Yeah. P-I-M-I-A-I-M-I. And it's all just in give me a second here. That's some stupid pop-up thing happening here I got to get rid of. All right. It's all in eighth notes, so you're going to be counting just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Okay, so for those of you who don't know who the PIMA thing, your thumb is P, your first finger is I, your second finger is M, and your third finger is A. So we can look at it this way. We can say thumb first, second, first, third, first, second, first. And like I said, this is the pattern for the whole thing. So through all the chord changes, the only thing that's going to be different is where we're at on the strings. So like I said, on this first part, we're on the first 4 strings. So thumb, first, second, first, third, first, second, first. I'm referring to fingers. Or if you wanted to look at it as strings, it would be D, G, B, G, A, G, B, G. But it's probably going to be better to think about it the other way and not the strings, because we're going to move it down. So depending upon which chord we're on, sometimes we'll be playing on these strings, and sometimes we're going to move it down. So now your thumb will be playing the A string, and your first finger will be on the D string, and your your second finger will be on the G string, and your third finger will be on the B string. Same picking pattern though. All right. So I hope everybody has had a chance to get those tabs, and let's get into it. So this is a song that I already had tabbed out a long time ago for like private lessons and whatnot. So I didn't go through and like shorten it. So it's 4 pages long, but there's a lot of repetition. But this way, if you play it from start to finish exactly the way that it's written, it'll line right up with the original song. So we start off, we actually have just an E minor, but we're only playing the top end of it. So I'm just using my second finger here to play the second fret of the D string. And if you've seen other lessons that I've done, you might be wondering, well, why are they doing like what I've talked about before, that just to do the chord as it is, and because you already have muscle memory. Well, the reason being is because we're going to go from playing on the second fret here, doing this E, it's going to move down to E flat too. So we start off, this is our first measure with that picking pattern, just like what we talked about already. So it's like 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So it's pretty easy, if you just work on getting the picking pattern down. Everything you're doing with your left hand, for the most part, or your fretting hand, is pretty simple. All right, so we're going to start here with that again. So that's our first measure: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then the second measure, we're going to do that. We're going to just go to E flat. So all I use my first finger to move down to the first fret of the D string, but the other strings are still open. Same picking pattern: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and then it goes right back for the third measure, back to the E again. So that's our first 3 measures. All right, then we're going to go to a C. So just a regular, just open C. So when we go to this chord, this is where I was talking about. We're going to move our hand. So we're going to do that same pattern, but now we're going to shift down. So our thumb is starting on the A string, first finger's on the D string, second's on the G string, and third finger's on the B string. Same picking pattern, same timing: 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So then measure 5 is A minor. So all we have to do is just move our ring finger from the third fret of the A string, move it down to the second fret of the D string or G string, and same picking pattern. And then the last chord in the progression is B7. So if you're a beginner, this might be, you may not have learned this chord yet, and I've just seen a lot of people when they first try to do it, they find it challenging. But it's an easy transition from A minor. So if we just move our middle finger, move it from the second fret of the D string, we move it to the second fret of the A string, move our first finger from the first fret of the B string to the D string, first fret, and then our third finger just stays where it is on the second fret of the G string, and it's that same pattern, and we're still on the same strings. We're between the A and the B. Whoops. and then that's the entire intro. So now when I'm doing the B7 here, you can see I'm picking up the second fret of the high E string. That's not even part of this song, the way they're doing it, but that's just the muscle memory I have to grab B7. So that's the only reason why I'm doing that. So that's the entire intro, and the intro and the verse are very similar. So before we move along, does anybody have any questions about anything that we've gone over? And if you were just joining us, there is a link in the description where you can download the tabs to follow along with this. And if you like what I'm doing, do me a solid and hit that thumbs up button. Hello, Jerry. How many guitars do I have? I don't know. I used to have a lot more, like kind of a ridiculous amount. I've downsized considerably over the last 2 or 3 years. But let's see. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29. I guess 29, I think, counting electrics, acoustics, and bass guitars. Yeah, I mean, the only reason that I really have as many guitars as I do is because I had an endorsement deal with the guitar company and just ended up accumulating quite a few guitars. All right, so we can move along. We can move on to the verse. So the verse is going to start off just the same way. So we just go right back to that. This E minor, the E flat, back to the E minor, C, A minor, B7. I gotta change the page, and I'm pretty sure it goes right back to it goes back to that first E minor again. E flat. So the verse is basically exactly the same thing as the intro. Now we're going to go into a pre-chorus. So we go to C. Oh, actually, I guess the picking pattern does change right here. I didn't think that it did. So my apologies for that. All right, so for this picking pattern, it's similar. We've got P, I, M, P, A, P, M, I. So like if you think about it string wise, it's A, D, G, A, B, A, G, D. Then we have another chord that we didn't have before, and that's A over C sharp. So it's pretty easy. You just take your regular A major chord. Now, if you do it like this, you're going to want to bar it. So I'm just using my first finger to pick up the second fret of the D, G, and B strings. But our bass note is a C sharp. So I'm using my ring finger here to pick up the fourth fret on the A string. Now I'm going to do that exact same picking pattern. Now we're going to go to a D major. So we're going to shift our right hand back up. We just move up a set of strings each. So now our thumb's on the D string. So we're, back to the D string, G, B, and high E strings. Same picking pattern, but we're just up a set of strings. So now it's going to be D, G, B, D, E, D, B, G, or P, I, M, P, A, P, or P. Oh my gosh, let me try that again. P, I, M, P, A, P, M, I. and then to the B7. So now when we go to the B7, this is probably the most different part of the picking pattern, is because now we're going to be playing the A string with our thumb, but we're going to be playing the G string with our first finger and the B string with our second finger and the high E string with our third finger. So we got P, I, M, P, A, P, M, I. So it's the same pattern, but we're just not playing the strings that are all right together. If fingerstyle is something that's completely new to you, or you're really struggling with your stuff, go to guitarcontrol.com's website, and there's a course on there that I did that only costs $1, a finger picking course, and it just goes over all the basic fundamental stuff. Really helpful. All right, yeah, so that's the pre-chorus. So we start with that C, A over C sharp, D, B7, and now that leads us to the chorus. All right, so before we move along to the chorus, does anybody have any questions about what we went over with the pre-chorus? You know, it was a little bit more complicated. It was funny is that when I picked this tonight, it was kind of a last minute thing, and I haven't played all the way through it for a long time, so I was really thinking that it was just the same thing all the way through. I was kind of surprised when I've seen some of these parts in here come up. I'm finally getting the Pima patterns. Oh, awesome! That's great, Crit. Yeah, you got that that finger picking course, right? Pretty sure that's what you told me you did. All right. Well, we can just move right along. So now we're in the chorus, and the chorus is like the verse and the intro. We're starting with the E minor again, and now we're back to the original picking pattern. So we're back to the P, I, M, I, A, I, M, I on the adjacent string. So we're back to thumb on the D string, first finger on the G string, second on the B, and third on the high E. That E flat, back to the E minor, to C, A minor, B7. Now you can see there at the end of that measure for B7, it's the end of a repeat. So we actually have to go back to the first page, all the way back to the first measure 7, where the verse begins, section B, measure 7. So we're going to go back and we're going to play that whole thing again. The thing that's neat about this song too is that when I'm just playing it by myself, it seems somewhat repetitive to me, because I'm playing these same parts. But when you actually play it and like somebody's singing with you or playing with somebody else, it really sounds good, and it sounds like there's a lot more going on than there really is. Okay, good. Well, that's good. That's the beauty of it. You can watch it as many times as you want. Oh, thank you, Jerry. Appreciate that. All right, yeah. So then after you go all the way, you go back to the verse, you play through the whole verse again, you play through the whole pre-chorus again, and the whole chorus again. And then you'd move on to the bridge. Now, the bridge section, oh yeah, okay. It took me a minute to remember how it goes. Okay, so starting with this bridge section, so it's going into it straight off of the chorus. So we go right back into the original, that E minor. So P, I, M, I, and then what's going to be different here is that instead of instead of going to the E flat, we're actually going to go to a D. So we're just going to play that string open. So we're going to be playing just through the first 4 strings open. So the first half of the measure, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. So we've got P, I, M, I, P, I, A, M, or D, G, B, G, D, G, E, B. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Then to C, 1. P, I, M, I, A, I, M, I. So it's just back to that first pattern again. Let's see. I just also realized too that for some reason on everywhere where it has the E minor, it doesn't have the chord catched, and I'm not sure why that is. Huh. Anyway, so we do that starting at the bridge, top of page 3. See, P, I, M, I, P, I, A, M to C. And then back to the E minor one again. And so this is basically the same as the measure 29 is the first one in the bridge. So measure 31 is the same. So it looks like we're going to do that whole sequence twice. So we're going to start with the E minor, D, C, and then back to the E minor again. All right, so and we do that twice. So I already forgot. Let's see. And now we're going to go into some even more, a little bit more different chords than what you might be used to with, it's not just these open chords or bar chords. So some of these are like dyads and triad shapes that just have a bunch of open strings around them. It's something you kind of see a lot in a lot of these where their songs are transposed from the piano to the guitar. Oh, Jay, 8 guitars. There's nothing wrong with that. I had, when I was young, I had like a half a dozen. And then something happened when I was in my early 20s, and I got rid of all my electric guitars except my Stratocaster, back to that white Stratocaster, and this. And this is all I played for a long time. And then when I got back into playing electric again and gigging and stuff like that, I had to get, that's when I started accumulating more guitars. Let's see. All right, so starting on measure, what is that, 33, I think? So you're going to come up to the 7th fret on the A string with your 3rd finger, and then the 5th fret on the D string with your 1st finger. And then you're going to play that P, I, M, I, A, but clear up onto the high E string. So it's going to do like it did on the, I think it was on the pre-chorus part. Ow. Is that right? No, I don't remember where it was in the song. I guess it doesn't really matter, but we had to kind of skip over some strings. So anyway, your thumb's gonna be playing the A string, your 1st finger gonna be playing the D string, your 2nd finger on the G string, and then your 3rd finger on the high E string. We're skipping the B string for this part. So, oh, that's great, Gary. Thank you. I appreciate it. And you are most welcome. Let's see. Oh yeah. So the P, I, M, I, A, I, M, I. now we're just going to do this thing where we're gonna move down chromatically. So we're going to go from the 7th fret on the A string to the 6th fret. So you just use your middle finger, and then the other notes stay the same. So 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and move that down. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and now we're going to move it down a half step again. So now we're on the 5th fret on the A string and the D string. Then it's going to go to the 4th fret. So we start with our 3rd finger and our 1st finger here on the 5th fret. And then when we go to the 7th fret on the A string, it's our 2nd finger. And then when we go to the 5th fret, you're just going to want to reverse these 2 fingers. So your 1st finger right now is on the 5th fret of the D string. You're going to move it to the 5th fret of the A string, and your 2nd finger to the 5th fret of the D string. So that way, it's just easy just to come down to this half step again here to the 4th fret. And then you come up and you play the B7, and you can just like do a thing like that, or just give it a strum, however you want to do it. Like I said, originally it's on the piano, so you can kind of take your own liberty there. But with this, if you strum it, then you do want to make sure you pick up that F sharp there on the 2nd fret of the high E with your pinky. And then it would go into the outro chorus. All right, so that is the bridge section. Man, I am really struggling to play this part here. I keep messing up. Oh yeah, this is where it goes to the D part. Okay. All right, and then that leads us into the outro chorus. All right, so any questions on that before we look at that? Because that's actually the last part of the song, is this outro chorus. And for those of you that have just joined or whatever, you can get, there's tabs for the song in the description, and when the live stream's over, you can be able to go back and watch it again to get all the deets on how to play it. And if you like what I'm doing, show me some love and hit that thumbs up button, and think about maybe subscribing to the channel. Yeah, that lockdown part's kind of cool, huh, Craig? There's lots of cool. I mean, that's the ear candy when there's those walk down things and songs. All right, so for this outro chorus, EYS raid. All right. So for this outro chorus, we start here on the 2nd fret of the D string, the same, just like the beginning, that E minor, same picking pattern, E flat, back to the E, C. So it's just like the intro and everything again. It's the only thing what's different is here at the end of it. A minor, B7, C, A minor, B7, So we have that there on measure 46. We're on the B7. 1 and 2 and give it a strum, and then back to the E minor. And then it's supposed to, actually, it doesn't say on there, it's actually as a retard right there. But I'm pretty sure that back when I did this, I didn't know how to use the software well enough to be able to like put in anything like that. So yeah, that is all of the parts to Hurt. So does anybody have any questions about that, or just anything in general? General Q&A. What is your favorite guitar to play? Mine is a Fender Squire. Squire what? Like a Strat? For my electric guitars, I mean, I've had that Strat. I bought that like right after I got out of high school, and I really like the guitar. Oh, awesome, Crit. That's great. It's a cool song. I really like that Strat, but for quite a while now, for the last God, probably 8 years, this has kind of been my go-to guitar. This is one of the ones I got from that endorsement, a Spear Gladius, and I really like this guitar. I've got 3 like this, one in snakeskin and one in a hologram finish, and then I've got the swirl design ones. They're the same model, but they're really different. But I really like this. I'd kind of compare it. It's like a cross between an Ibanez RG and a Jackson Dinky. Like, so it's kind of, for me, it's kind of the best of both worlds between those guitars. But yeah, this is kind of my go-to favorite. Yeah, so I totally forgot what I was going to say. The train came off the rails. Yeah, so we got a little time. If anybody has any other questions or anything. Oh, and then just an FYI, for the next little while anyway, I'm only going to be coming on once a week for the live, and it's going to be generally on Wednesdays, but there might be some times when I have to switch it to a Tuesday instead of a Wednesday. And this is just for the next little while and stuff, and then we'll see after that how it's going. But anyway, it'll be the same time. What is it? 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, I think, on Wednesdays. Oh, and so that being said, Crit, we can do your lesson an hour like we did last night. We can do it an hour earlier now on Tuesday. I don't know. Jersey sent me a message earlier, said he wasn't going to be able to make it, so I don't know why, but I know, Paul, that's crazy. That all the stuff with the time zones and everything is a trip. All right. Well, if nobody has any further questions or anything, then I think we can wrap that up. But I would like to thank everybody that joined me tonight. It's always a good time. And if you like what I'm doing, hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment, subscribe to the channel, all that stuff. It helps them to know that I'm doing a good job for them, and I can continue to keep doing this for you. Thank you, Crit. Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Paul. Appreciate you guys. You guys are the OG crew here. You're the OG nieces and nephews. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody. Really appreciate it. And I will see you all. Well, I will see you. Your names come up in your little tiny pictures and your texts and stuff. I wish it was a thing that we could all just see each other. That'd be awesome. But I think you have to have a pretty powerful computer to do that. All right. Well, thanks again, everybody. Really appreciate it. Hope everybody has a great night. And I will. What? You have 8 grandchildren? Man, you're a busy crew. Wow, that's crazy. I don't have any yet, but I have 4 boys, and I don't know if that's really in the cards or anything in the future. The youngest one's still pretty young to worry about it yet, but hey my. Yeah, we could probably do that for a lesson. Maybe we could do like a couple of Neil Young ones together, just because some of them are kind of short, and there's not a lot to them. So if we did, a couple, but yeah, that's a good one. All right. Well, again, thanks everybody for coming out. Really appreciate it, and I'll see y'all next week. Have a great night, everybody.